Hey YouTube, it's Manny. As you can see, I'm getting into 3D printing. I have a couple projects I want to do, so that was one of the reasons I picked this up. Now this is an Ender 3 version 2, so it's a kit. It's fairly cheap. It's an entry-level printer, 3D printer, so you got to put everything together yourself. So in this video, it's a long one. There's a long video. I'll go through all the steps, the setup steps, and everything like that, and some of the issues I had, and some of the things the instruction manual did not go over that you should be aware of. Alright, step one is installation of the Z-axis limit switch kit and the Z-axis profile. So that's essentially, these are the profiles, they're just the arms, and then this is the Z limiter, so it's got a switch here that basically keeps when the nozzle comes down, it doesn't go too far. This stops it from like crashing into the bed. So we're going to install that stuff first. Now there's two different profiles. One has two holes on the side, one has two holes on the bottom. The left one, the one where the limiter goes on, has the two holes on the bottom. So that's the one you want to grab first, because we're going to put the Z limiter on first. So this is the limiter, and what we have to do is we have to unscrew these little these are like what's going to hold it into the actual frame. So we got to unloosen these quite a bit. We need actually two Allen wrenches as well. So you want to unloosen these. I got the wrong size Allen wrench. There we go. All right. So loosen these quite a bit, not just a little bit, because you loosen them. If you don't loosen them enough, they won't actually turn right inside and lock. So they're actually, you can see how pretty loose they are. All right. So what we're going to do is now take this guy. So it's going to go here. And the switch is going to go, like, I believe it's like so. Just like this. Switch is going to go just like that. So, and you want to be, and basically, if you look at this, now, there's a little knob on the limiter. You see this little nub in here? This is going to be flush with the bottom. We can readjust this once it's on to make it a little closer, but this is basically going to be, this little knob is going to be flush on the bed, well, not the bed, but the platform. So once it's there, we're just simply going to tighten these. Oops, that's good enough. We'll tighten a little bit and then readjust. It's a little low. Push it up a little bit. All right, that's good. Now we tighten it. And then one thing we want to make sure is we want to look down to make sure those things turn to the side. And they did. I don't know if I'd be able to show it in the camera, but I might be able to see that. I don't know if you can see straight down there. Basically, the nut is going this way, so it's nice and secure in there. All right, so now we're going to install this into the bed frame. Well, actually, this is the bed. This is the frame. So you be careful of these little wires that this plugs into the Z limiter. So you want to be careful we don't crush those. So we're going to be using, these are M545s. Now the nice thing about this, I'll be honest, like most of this stuff, it's really well labeled. So you can actually see clearly on there that it tells you exactly what nut is in this bag. There's no guessing about lengths and stuff like that. So the directions tell you which nut to use. That tells you exactly what it is. For every step, basically put everything out that you need. Then put it together. Don't try to like do one thing at a time. Make sure you get everything out for that. All right, so I'm gonna tip it on the side, and make sure you guys can see me. And there's holes on the bottom. Basically, you want to just put the screws up through here. I think do the bottom one is probably easier first, and that goes into the frame here, the profile, whatever they call it. All right, that's in there. Now put the top one in. Use the big Allen wrench. We're just going to screw it. Let's see if we get that in there. Alright, it's biting. Make sure these lines are not in the way. Now these are going to get recessed inside the base. The other thing I'm not sure about is how tight. I'm gonna basically do this like snug, not too much more, just so it's in there. I don't know how tight that really actually needs to be. And then that's this one. And as I said, there's 2 holes in the bottom. Make sure those are on the bottom, not up here, because the next step has you do something in there. All right, so now we got to do the right side. So we'll turn this around so you guys can see. And be careful of the nozzle, which is, it's all attached. You got to be careful you don't break that. Now it does say, so like I said, there's a hole here and a hole here, and it says to make sure that the long side is up and the bottom side is down. Long and short. So what we're going to do is make sure you can actually see, and I'm hoping this works out. You can actually see there's like a hole for like a screw head to sit in. We're actually going to make sure that faces forward. So this is the front part with the tension. That's the front. Motor goes in the back, plugs in the back, right? So the side with the holes that have slight divots in them, you can see there's no divots here, but there's a slight divot right there. That's going to go in the front. That's what it looks like on their diagram. So that is how we're going to install it. So let's just tip it on its side. Be careful not to smash any plugs on the other side. And same thing. We're going to do the bottom one first. I just feel like it's easy to line the bottom one up this way. And then the top one. Just get them hand started. This one's a little tougher because you got the ribbon cable. This is for the controller. So it kind of gets in the way. And that's what we have for step 1. Eliminate switch in there, 2 profiles up. That's it for step 1. Okay, so step 2 is installing the Z-axis motor kit and T-type screw. Now, we got this, it turned around, so this is the motors in the back, like I said, the tension's in the front, so we're going to install it here, technically on the left side. Looking at it right now, it's the right side. So we got our motor, T-type screw, and then we have 2, it tells us these are 2 M4 by 18, need 2 of these. So we got those. So a little tip, sure I have the right size nut. So this is the motor, right? So what we're gonna do is actually loosen this a little bit, right? I got the wrong size, sorry. It's a few different sizes. So we're gonna loosen this off right here. This turns a little bit, so we're just gonna loosen this. We're gonna take this piece off. All right, see this comes right off like this. Now we're gonna do this for a reason, because it's a lot easier to get the screws in, to screw this in with this piece not on. All right, the directions show you to put this in here, then put this here and screw it in. Much easier to do it this way, and you have these holes exposed down here, because you can see. I'm gonna show you. Like, see this with this on here. It's really like those holes are. It's hard to get the screws in those holes and screw them in. So it's much easier. Take this off. You know, it can only go on one way anyway. So you can see there's a small end, a big end. The big end is where the screw goes in, and the small end goes down here. So simply put that down here. We take our nuts, and we're just going to put them in. And there's 2 holes that line up that we made sure that were on the bottom. And we're just going to line those guys up and screw them in. This is actually my first tip on things to make it easier, because I was messing with this earlier, just trying to figure out how to do all this and make sure it worked out right. It was really difficult to get these screws in here with this collar. I guess it's a collar. This collar's still on. I was able to do it, but this just made it a lot easier to install. Alright, so we're going to put the collar back on now that's on tight. Alright, now that the collar's on here, an important thing we have to do before we tighten this up, you'll actually see that there's a slice here and a slice here. So the top and the bottom are separate, right? So the top bolt holds in the screw, the bottom bolt holds it onto the motor itself. However, right now it's sitting right on top of the motor. We don't actually want it sitting right on top of the motor because it will grind and probably make squeaking noises, metal on metal, and it could actually bind up and won't get it. So what you want to do is you want to like lift this up like a like probably a centimeter or so, like just about that high. So it's, you can see how it's off the motor a little bit. You don't want it on the motor, you want it off the motor a little bit. So have it up high a little bit. I know my finger's gonna be in the way. Let's see if I can do this so my fingers aren't in the way. Just like that. About a centimeter. Doesn't have to be a lot, just something. And just tighten it like this so it's not on the motor. You can measure if you want to. I don't think it's necessary to measure it. Just a little bit off the motor like that. So now it's not going to be binding or touching the metal. Now the other thing I want to say is the threaded, this is a threaded screw. It's greased. Leave this rubber cover on it for a while because it's going to get all over yourself. So just drop this in here. Make sure that rubber's not in there. And that's it. That's all it is to that one. So now we got this installed. All right, step 2 is done. Okay, step 3. We don't need the base, so you can actually put that away right now for step 3. So all we're going to do is install a pneumatic joint, XE axis kit, and synchronization belt. So we have everything here we need. We have the XE axis kit, X-axis profile. I'll go over this in a second. You have a pneumatic joint. You have the belt, and you have 2. These are M4x16s. 2 of these. All right. So now I want to go over this real quick. There are two things like this packed in, so you want to make sure you grab the right one. This is packed with another one. I think it's a gantry top piece. It's a little shorter. The other thing is this has a lot more screw holes in it. For example, you have these ones that are borrowed out a little bit for something that can sink in there. You can see that. So this is the one you want to make sure you grab for this. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to grab this kit, the AE axis kit. We're going to take our pneumatic piece, right? And all we're going to do is, where are we installing this bad boy? Make sure I have this turned right. Here it is. All right. So this is going to be mounted like this, and this basically feeds in the filament into there, and this goes right into this hole right here. So the filament tube goes in here, and that's going to go to the nozzle head, right? So screw that in there. We're going to tighten it up. And then we're just going to give it a couple little turns to tighten it up a little bit, and that's good. Ooh, shouldn't have did that much, it slipped. All right, so that's it. Just that piece right there. Next thing you want to do is take the belt. And in here you have another stop. See the stop? And there's actually, if we can see it, inside there is where the belt goes around. So the teeth go down. Let me fix my belt here. All right. So flat side. So as I'm holding it like this, I don't know if you can see how I'm holding it. The belt's going to go inside here. And then we're going to pull it back through again. I'll show you what it looks like in a second once I get it. So hopefully you can see this. So the belt's in there like this. See, so it goes around that. And then, so once we have the belt just sitting here like this, we're going to take, what is this called again? X-axis profile, right? So there's 2 ends to it, right? And they're very similar, but you see there's 2 holes here and a kind of a big hole, one right on the end. And then there's 3 holes on this end as well, but they're spaced out. This is the side, the smaller end, the shorter end with a big hole is on the shorter side, goes on here. And you can see this nut right here is where this divot actually sits like this. Just like that. And the belt goes down this length. So what you want to do is then drop the screws. This is going to be a tough one for me to show you, but there's a screw holes right on the underside here that we're going to drop this in. It's really tough to get this in here and show you. There's 2 of them. Let's see if I can get it in here. And let me drop them in there and then I'll show you what it looks like. Let me get this one started. So I dropped one in, if you can kind of see it in there. See, it's in that hole. Now there's actually another hole right up here next to the motor that we can actually Got a screw, and hopefully I have the hole lined up, which I don't think I do quite yet. Oh, it's lined up. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. There's another hole right here. Like I said, it's tough to get these in. And so I got that one, so you can see the screw in there, and then we're basically just gonna drop it down. There's another hole here. Drop down in here, and hopefully it's lined up. Don't tighten up the other one until you get this one lined up, because it might require a little jimmy, and I got it in there now. Now this one's tougher because you can't really get it super tight because of basically using this the long end of the Allen wrench. You obviously can't get much leverage. I think I can go in here a little bit. Like I was thinking, you want to get leverage like this with the Allen wrench like this, because you get more leverage, but it's hard on this one to get any kind of, and everything's a little greasy. It makes it a little harder to, all right, that's in there, tighten up. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is just make sure the belt comes down. The underside belt is gonna go shorter than the top side belt, so we're just gonna wrap it like this. So, so you have the belt, I don't think I showed you that. So the belt just basically wraps, it goes into the frame here. The top side wraps up and underneath, right? And the bottom side just comes up under as well. And that is it for step 3. All right, so step 4, we're gonna install a nozzle kit and Z-axis passive block. So we're gonna use the same assembly we had before. The nozzle kit is attached to the actual base, so we actually need the base back. We're gonna need a passive block right here and a single, this is a M4x16 bolt. So first thing first is we're going to get the nozzle assembly on here. Now you gotta be careful because the belt's here. Now you want to take these off. As you can see, I have the back side. So this is gonna be mounted like this. It's gonna go up and down basically on this, like, this is how it's gonna go up and down. So I kind of like trying to put it in this way so that I'm gonna put the belt through like this. And then we're basically just gonna slide this through the 3 wheels. 2 wheels go on top, 1 wheel on bottom, the belt is through, all right? That's gonna come up here. And that's essentially on there. Now we're gonna install the passive block. And that just, once again, you can see there's a indentation here, and this has like a little screw here, like the back of a nut. So that's actually gonna fit right in here as such, and you can actually see the 2 holes. There's a hole for screw here and a hole screw here. We're only installing 1 screw right now, and it's gonna go in the bottom one here. It's going right in here. Right. And then on the bottom side, we can do one of these. So on the bottom side, you get this cable. This is the belt. There's actually a little slice. If you can see right there, there's like a little slice in there. This is actually just gonna slide up in here. So it actually will hold the belt in place here, the little metal thing. Now you can do that with the other end here for temporarily, but we're gonna need it next. We'll just leave it off for now because we gotta do the tensioner next. So that's it for now. That's step 4. On to step 5. All right, step 5, install X-axis tensioner. So we're gonna basically use the same thing we were working on previously. We're going to grab our tensioner, which is this piece right here. This is our tensioner. Now there was in mine, there's a little nut came with it. This is, which one is this? This is a 4x14 nut. It came with one, and we also need a single M4x16 nut as well, right here. Like I said, this one came in here. It fell out of the package. I didn't even know it was in there at first. All right. Now, a couple things I want to go over with this real quick. It goes on a certain way. So as you can see how I have, what is this thing called? The nozzle kit, the device we installed earlier. So you have the passive block here on this side. Have the passive block on the front side that you're working on. And if you look here, you see there's a slice right here in it. That's going to go into the passive block. So it's important because when we take out the wheel in here, when it goes around, it has to go on a certain way, otherwise it won't fit back in. So make sure you have it on the right way. It's going to go that way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo the blue nut, keeping it the same direction it's going to go on. I'm going to take the wheel out like this. Keep it the same direction. I'm going to unwind it. Remember, this is the top and this is the bottom. I'm going to take this piece out. We're simply going to just put it through here and back underneath. Now we're going to slide it back into this little the holder. Make sure the it comes through the nut comes to the end, the screw rather I should say, and then it just slides right on here like that, just like so. Now you're going to take the M4 by 16. It's going to go in this side. And once you got it kind of on there, don't do it too tight, because what we want to do is turn it over to this side, and then you're going to take the other nut that came with it, the M4 by 14. It's a countersunk, and it's going to go in this hole. So you want to make sure it lines up before you tighten the other side too much. You want to make sure this one lines up as well. So this is the screw that came with the tensioner. Once this one's in there, snug them both up. Remember, this is plastic, the tensioner is plastic. You might be able to go buy yourself a metal one, I imagine, but so when you tighten this, don't do it too tight because you don't want to break the plastic. Alright, it's on there nice. Now, once those are on, what we want to do is actually now, as we showed you in the last one, we got this on here. That's a little too much. Alright. Let me pull this down a little bit. Alright, like that. Alright. Might be a little too much tension on that. As we showed you previously, we're going to take this one. There's another slice right here. We're going to put this up in that slice. Make sure that the teeth are down, right? So this one's a little tighter. I have probably a little tension on mine. I should probably loosen the tension up. Make sure the tension's loose. So that it's easier. We'll tighten it up afterwards. There we go. So as you see, there's a lot more tension now. I loosened it. We're just going to slide it under. We're going to slide it under here. Actually, push up on the bottom so there's actually a little room so it can slide under. So I'm like, actually turn it upside down so that you can actually slide it under and in, and it all fits in there, right? So now that's the whole nozzle set. It's upside down. And that's it for step 5. Actually, don't scratch any of the cables. Alright, step 6, install the Z-axis moving kit and adjust the tightness of X-axis and Y-axis tensioners. Alright, so this is actually not too hard of a part right now. First thing we want to do is, remember we left this this rubber tubing thing on the screw. We're going to take that off because we're actually going to install it on top of that. Now we're going to pick up the whole X-axis moving kit and make sure you do it the right way. So I'm holding, this is the back side of the base, and the nozzle goes on the front side. So it's only going to go on one way anyway, and what we want to do is basically line up the wheels with the grooves in the profile. It's going to go down, and then eventually you're going to see the screw is actually going to line up to a hole over here. Let me get closer so you can see that. So as you can see right here, how the screw hole actually lines up with that. And what I'm going to do, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing to do, and I may be screwing things up for all I know, is I'm simply going to go down here, and I'm just going to turn this a couple times. I don't know if that hurts the motor, but just to kind of get the whole thing moved down just a little bit. Just gently. I don't know if I'm actually messing up the motor or not. I could unscrew this and kind of wheel down, but I think it's okay that way. So make sure you have everything kind of lined up the right way. Like I said, this is the back side. The nozzle's going to be on the front side. This is actually the filament feeder, so that's going to be on the back side. Make sure that's all set up right. Now it also talks about the tension. So I'm going to monkey with this a little bit right here. I'll turn it around now. I'm going to turn the whole thing around to the front, because this, so what you got is the, I think this is the X-axis and this is the Y-axis. So this is the X-axis tensioner, this is the Y-axis tensioner. This one I'm not going to muck with. It looks like it's tight enough. How much of the screw is actually sticking out at the end of the nut? So a good rule of thumb is 0 to 3 millimeters. So what they're speaking about directly is this. If you look right here, I don't know how close we can get the camera in there. It's basically, they're talking about, let me get this, sorry. There we go. See, like the little, the screw is protruding out just a little bit. That's all you want, a little tension like that. Too much tension is not good, too little tension is not good either. Same thing with this one down here. Just a little bit, let's see if I can get this good. Just a little bit out, see it's right there. A little tighter. And that's it. And that's tension. All right. That's step 6. It's step 6 done. That's starting to look like a 3D printer now. All right, step 7, install the gantry profile and display kit. So gantry profile, is we talked about earlier when we talked about this one. This is the shorter one in there. So you can see this one actually has 2 holes on this side, 2 holes on this side, and you see the insets. So that's the gantry profile. We need 4 of these. Which one of these? These are called M5 by 25 by, we need 4 of these. And then we also need the actual, this is the display kit. This is actually going to go on this side. All right, let's do the display kit first. It's more complicated, so we'll get that one done first. Now this display kit, just like I think it's the Z switch, I forget what it was, the Z lock. Just like this, it has the same little nut system on it right here. You can see them. So there's 3 of these. First thing we're going to do is actually remove the. This actually removes off, so we're actually just going to pull it up. Take it off, right? We're just going to remove it. We're going to put this aside because it's going to make it easier to actually put this on without having that big thing on there. So, as I mentioned, these things, we're going to loosen all 3 of these up pretty well. We're going to loosen them up fairly well so that they're, so they actually go on. You don't want them to fall off. You don't want the nuts to fall off, but you want to actually get these pretty loose. And I'll be honest, this whole detachable panel, I don't think I'm gonna ever detach it. All right, so now that goes on. This goes on this side. So it's basically gonna. Let's see if we can get this. I'll turn this whole thing to the side so you guys can see what's going on. Now you can see this. You gotta turn them so they fits on, right? It's gonna be angled. So the 2 bottom ones go on the bottom row, and the top one goes in this top row right here. So let me switch over here. And then all we're going to do is make sure they're all facing sideways like that, so they actually fit in. And they're in there. Now I'm basically going to have this flush. I'm going to make the front of this thing flush, I think. I'm actually not sure. Maybe it goes back a little more. I think it goes back a little more so the actual device itself is flush. So you can actually kind of just go like that. It's fine. It's not going to be in anything's way. So we're going to actually tilt it to the side a little bit. Actually probably make it a lot easier if it's up here. And then, like I said, just make sure it's going to come back a little bit so that it's flush. Right about there is good enough. All right, now we're just going to simply tighten these. Now that's on. This is the actual, smash it. This is the cable that plugs into it. So if we look on the back side here, we could actually see where it goes into. It's pretty straightforward as far as there's a little notch on the top, and it fits in the notch on the top here. So we're just going to plug this in first. And then we're going to stick it back on here and snap it in. There we go. So that's in there now. So that is that part. All right, so now for the actual gantry profile. So we want to make sure we do this with the parts that are kind of burrowed out on top and not the part underneath that doesn't have it, because these are going to be inset. So you see like this, you want to make sure these are hidden, recessed in there. So it simply goes on top like this. Now one key thing to make sure is with the nozzle head, the cables are underneath the gantry. The cables are on top. When this thing goes down, it's gonna pull these, and they're gonna get. So if you did it like this, it's not gonna be able to go down because there's not enough cord here to go all the way down to the base. So make sure the gantry goes on top of all the cables. Important tip. And then you have step 7. All right, step 8 is installing material rack, gantry cover, and indication knob. So this is the indication knob that's going to go on. Gantry cover, there's only 2 of them. There's just 2 little plugs on the side. Then you have to install the material rack. It's this piece of metal here, and then this is actually another tube that goes on top of that. You also need to have 2 hexagon. So these are M5 by 8s. This little nut right here. There's 2 of these, and then you need 2 of these M5T nuts. 2 of these little guys. These are basically the same thing that were on the Z-stop and the control panel. So this is what we're gonna do. First thing I'm gonna do is just gonna do the gantry covers. It's basically these little plugs. They go into the side here. I think you can install them either way, up or down. It doesn't really matter. So like, you can kind of see how they are. I don't think it really matters because this is basically a square. So you just stick it in here like this. It goes on the side. So you can come over here and actually see what I'm doing. It's just really super simple. Take this piece and just plug it right into here. That's it. Nothing to it. All right, now while we're here, we're going to actually install the, what is this? The indicator knob. I'm not really sure what the indicator knob is for, but it goes on this thing. There's a little notch in it, and you can see there's actually a little notch in the indicator knob. So just line that up so that it'll fit on like that. It doesn't really lock on, it just kind of falls on, so that's that. All right, so now for the material kit, material handler thing. So turn it up a little bit here. So first we got to put this thing together. So you want to take this thing off. There's like a screw on that. Now this piece goes, this is going to go like this. So there's like a lip here and a flat side here with the lips on the other side. You want to make sure this goes in like that. And then this simply goes on here. It's a collar that locks. And then once you put it on there, you turn it. That's it. So now it kind of turns like that. Alright, so now once we have that, we have to take our screws, one in, one screw in, and then take the nut. And make sure you put it on the right way. There is a top and a bottom of these. Here, let me screw one in and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when it's in there. I keep them loose. But that's how it should look. So there's like a little step up right there. Put them both in. Make sure they're both in the right direction like that, such as so. Now the material, it's always going to go it's going to face the back, because this is basically the filament's going to come down here and into the extruder, I think it is, extruder or whatever it's called, and then it comes out this way. So it says, it doesn't tell you exactly, like, I'd say put it right up next to the nuts here. There's 2 nuts there from the gantry. I put mine right up next to that, and then you got to screw this down. It's not that easy to screw down, but so there we have, step 8 is done. We're getting super close. All right, step 9 doesn't involve any additional parts. Now we're just plugging in wires. So first thing we're going to do is, oh, I'm sorry, no, we actually do have on one piece we're going to need is the blue wire clip. We do have a power plug, but I'm not going to worry about plugging that in. If you don't know how to plug in a power adapter, if you don't know how to plug this in down here, we get some problems. All right, so I'm not going to really show that. It's simple enough. You've plugged in plenty of computers, hopefully. All right, so we're going to start up here, and we're going to start actually with Teflon tube. So this is actually going to go into this right here. See if I can get closer for you guys to actually see what's really going on. So we're going to take the Teflon tube, right? Make sure this is pulled. I don't know if it's pulled out or in. I think it's out. So it's out, and we're just going to stick it in there. Now you want to actually give it a good little push to get it in there pretty deep. There, it slides in a little further, and then you have this little, I don't know if you can see, to focus, this little blue clamp. And it's just going to go right on the collar here to hold it in so that it's actually in there pretty good. That is that piece. Now we're going to take actually the rest of these wires here, and there's a little clip right here. I'm going to take the rest of this cord. Let me go back a little bit so you guys can see. So the rest of this cord, it's actually just going to clip into here to kind of stay out of the way. Should fit in there nicely. Should. There we go. All right. So that is that piece. Now let's turn this to the side so you can see where the rest of this gets plugged in. These wires are actually all labeled, and actually the manual does tell you exactly where they go. So if you look at the wires themselves, they actually have little codes on them. So, I don't know if you guys can see, that has the letter E on it. E goes right into here, which is E for probably the extruder. I think I'm probably saying it wrong. Extruder. I think it's extruder. But that goes basically plugs into here. E. That's actually what feeds the filament to the device. Then you have another one. This says X and this says X. That says X on it. If you can see it. Now there's two different sized ones. One goes in here. And make sure you plug it in the right way. It's hard. I know it's probably hard to see. I don't know if can I get in there for you guys. Right in there. So like right next to the belt. That goes right in there. It just plugs in. All right. And then this other one actually goes. It's hard to see. It's up under here. This is another X. And make sure you plug it in the right way. Can really only go in one way, and that just goes up like that. So that's those three. All right, so now we also have to do the Z motor and Z limiter. So let's Z limiter switch, the stop switch. All right, so now we're looking at the bottom. We're still on the same side, and so here are the two wires. So this is the Z motor, and this is the Z limiter switch or stop switch, whatever. Stop it. So in the front. Is obviously you can't plug these in wrong because one can reach, one can't, right? So this one also they have the letter Z written on the side of them, so you know that this is the Z motor part. So this one goes right here in the front. It plugs right into this guy, the long one. And then this one's a little harder to see. If we come around the side here, I think you might get a better angle of this. You can see back here, the little, like where this is another Z one. It goes right into here. That's it. All right, so now the voltage. So since I'm in the US, actually, it says 230 to 115 volts. Technically, I think it's 110, but we're going to switch the voltage. How do I do this? To 115 because we're in the US and not in Europe. So now I can see it's actually set to 115. And that's just, let's see if I can get you guys in there. Well, you can see anyway that you have 230, 115. I have mine slipped over, and you can see inside it says 115. So make sure you have the right voltage selected. In the US, you probably want 115. Europe is 230 or 220. I forget what they are. That's that. All right, so step 9 is done. All right, now step 10 is pulley tightness adjustment. Now, what you want to make sure is like everything moves. You want to make sure it's not idle or stuck. So basically, you just have to check your pulleys. Like this one, there's the up and down. This comes up, it goes down, and then basically this one too. That's right. Now, if they don't move smoothly and there's an issue with them, what you want to do is each one of them will have a hexagon shape. You're actually going to use your open-ended wrench to adjust it. And let me show you right where one is. You can actually see one right here. So that one is actually a nut. You can see these ones are round. So what you would do is if you were going to, you'd actually have to turn it one way or the other. Each pulley has a set. That one has one right there. For this, it's on the bottom side. And there's two on the tray, one front and one back. So that's all it is. Mine moves smoothly, so I'm not going to adjust anything. So we're on to step 11. All right, so step 11 is bed leveling. So what we want to first do, though, is put the glass tray back on to platform because we want to level it to this. Now, it comes with these little clips, these little metal clips. One of mine was broken when I first got it, so all these do is like it just slides on, like it slides in like this. This side is on the bottom, so it just slides in like this. I only have one. You put one in the front, one in the back. Since I don't have two of them, I'm not even going to use this one. So instead, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use 19 millimeter binder clips. This seems to be the one. So these are 19 millimeters, the size you want. They're small enough. And I'm going to put one in each corner. Now, you got to remember the whole tray. I'm going to put them in each corner over here, and one in the corner over here. Now remember this is 220 millimeters by 220 millimeters is the print area. So this in here. It doesn't go all the way to the edge, so you're okay. Now in the back side, make sure you put the binder clip in a place where it's not going to hit the backside motor. So you just want to make sure you do that. So, because if you put it on the inside, one of the arms may hit it. All right. So now that that's back on, now we're ready to actually level it. So first thing we're going to do is turn on our device. Powers up, and you can actually see it over there. So now let's zoom in onto the display and get going. So what we're going to do is, you're going to use a little knob. And basically we're going to go over to turn it over to prayer and then press the button. And then we're going to go auto home. So we're going to dial down here till we get to auto home and then click this button. And now it's going to find its home. Let's speed this up. Alright, so it is at its home. Now let's level the bed. What we want to do is actually come up to the menu and turn this on to disable stepper motor, right? What that's going to do is enable us to freely move without damaging the motors or anything like that, or having the motors locked on. So now we can actually move this around and stuff like that. So as you can see, if you clearly you can see under here, this is a brand new one. This is what happened to me. It's a good distance. Now my Z-stop is all the way down as flush as it can be, so it's okay there. However, it's still quite a bit of gap, right? What I found out was all these wheels are really tight. So we're going to have to loosen these wheels up to raise it, right? But I can't just loosen this wheel to get it all the way up. I'm going to have to loosen the adjacent wheels as well. The front right and the back left wheel behind this one. We're going to have to loosen these just to get that corner to come up all the way. I was tightening that one. Loosen it. Because they all work together. You can't just loosen this one and expect it to come all the way up. They actually work together in conjunction. So the first thing we're actually going to do is, I was doing a little bit, but what you want to do is move this, pull the bed out. You want it right above this, roughly above the spring is what you want. And you want to be able to slide a piece of paper in there. You can actually see it coming up. Oop, I need to move that like that. Oh, wrong way. One way lowers, the other way raises. And if you go too low, the spring loses tension. So that looks like it's getting close. You just want the paper to grab, as far as I'm aware. Right there. Take it off a little bit. The paper's grabbing a little more than I want. There we go. It just grabs the paper and hits it a little bit. So that's all we want. Now that one's done. Now we're going to move it over to the other side. We're going to move it slowly though. So I'm going to go to the right side. Move it slowly in case this side is higher and we don't want to scratch the glass surface, right? So we're going to move it over slowly. It already is a little higher, right? There we go. Actually, we're going to lower this one a little bit. Alright, this one needs to go a little higher. We're going to do this a few times. Alright, that one's grabbing now, right? That's good. Let's go back this way. Is this one still grabbing? Oh, that's still good. Alright, now we're going to go to the back. Like I said, keep an eye on it. We don't want to scratch the surface. Actually, it looks pretty good. Alright. It's roughly right there. Oh, that's good right there, too. Then come across here. That might be okay. Might need to go up a little there, though. Yeah, this one needs to go up a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright, that's grabbing that. Now, we want to recheck it again, because we did adjust this one. Just want to make sure everything is still groovy. Oh, that's nice. This one. That one and back here again. And about there. That's good. So I'd say we're all level. Bed is leveled now, which is really good. So just keep that in mind. Like when you first get this, you may have to loosen them quite a bit to get them to, it to level, go up to the highest level that it needs to be. All right, guys. So the numbering kind of got a little messed up. I guess bed leveling was step 11 and 12, not just 11. So we're on step 13, which is preheat. This is a pretty easy one. So all we're going to do is come over to our console here, and we're going to, so we're here, we're going to go back to the main screen. We want to go to, actually prepare, we're already in the right one. So we're going to go preheat PLA. So they gave us some PLA, so that's what we're going to use. There are additional ones like ABS, and I guess that's it. There's cool down as well. So it's ABS and PLA. We're going to do PLA because that's actually what the kit comes with. So we're going to press this, and you're actually going to see where we want to go to right here, the heat. So that the bed is the bottom one. It's 25 is going to go 60 degrees. The top one is the nozzle, 31 to we want to hit 200. So let that get heated up, and we'll actually load the filament while that's heating up. All right, so the package did come with it's not a spool. Well, I guess it's a little spool, but it doesn't come with anything to sit on. So we're actually just going to throw this on and run it through the extruder. All right, so what we want to do is first, let's raise this up a little bit. Well, it's just easier to see when it's up a little higher. So get that up higher. All right, the other thing we want to do is we want to take our spool, and this is like, you want to cut this at a 45, take the little clippers they gave you, right? And you want to cut this at a slight 45-degree bend, angle, the best you can get it at. Well, that's not very good at all. There we go. So it's a slight little 45, not much, but 45. So what we're going to do is run that through here. So everything's we're going to take this little cap off, this is going to get hung up top here, just on it. And this is simply just going to go through this hole right down here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're feeding it through here. It has to go between here and into here, right? So what we got to do is hold this, and it's going to go through. But you notice it kind of goes to the side a little bit. You actually got to kind of just wiggle it through. There it is, right there. And I got it right in there, and we're just going to push it through until it goes all the way in, all the way to the nozzle. Yeah. Good, it's in there. Now, if we come back and actually look at our nozzle, we can clearly see, you can actually see it dripping down, so it's actually through. Now our filament's loaded. All right, what we're gonna do now is wait 30 minutes for the bed to heat up. I was actually told by a friend who does this for a living to actually wait, if it's brand new, wait about 30 minutes. His beds have been used for a long time, so he does about 15 minutes, it's fine. But he says when you first get your bed, the glass takes some time to heat up. So wait about 30 minutes before you actually do your first print. So we'll be back in 30 minutes. All right, the final step is actually printing now. We're ready to print. So now you can go online and download stuff, but we're going to use so they give you a thumb drive, and in here is actually a little card. We're going to plug this into it. There's two models on here. There's a dog and a cat. I've printed the dog previously just to make sure everything worked. We're actually going to print the cat. So you basically take it, and there's a little slot down here, and you just slide it in there. And you put it, the teeth end up, and it just slides right in, and click it in, and it's in there. So once that's in there, we're just going to go over to our console. All right, from here we're going to actually go back to the main screen. We're going to go over to print, click the button, and now you actually have the two files. And like I said, dog 2 hours. I think it's 2H is 2 hours, and then cat is 3.5 hours. So we're simply just going to go down. We're going to print the cat. I've already done the dog. I'm going to click this, and it's going to take a moment, and we'll stop printing. So it's always going to, I believe it goes home first all the time, and it stops printing. So we're not going to actually watch the whole thing. It's going to take a very long time for it to finish printing. So we'll get back, we'll come back when it's done. So 3.5 hours later. All right, guys, be back. All right, guys, so one thing I do want to talk about real quick, it is printing correctly now. The first print I did didn't work right. So here's the thing. The way the instructions tell you to level a bed, then preheat the bed is backwards. You need to preheat the bed first because what ends up happening is it's metal, obviously, the plate is metal underneath.
and it contracts or it expands depending on, you know, if it cools off, it's going to contract, and if it heats up, it's going to expand. So you actually want to do it when your bed is actually preheated. So before you print, so you can level your bed, which is not a bad idea. Heat up your bed, then level it once again before you start your print. This is actually printing now, and we'll get back to it when it's done. All right, so our print has finished. Now it's been about 24 hours, so the bed is actually pretty cool now. I was off all day. I was at work. It's been about 24 hours, like I said. So we're gonna try to remove it now. We're gonna try to use a couple things. One is using what came with it. It came with a scraper, and you can actually see on the scraper there's one end that's kind of sharper, and this end is just flat, right? You can actually, it's hard to see maybe, but so you want to make sure you use the side that actually is tapered down. That way you can kind of scrape under there. We don't want to hurt the print at all. We don't want to destroy the print, so we want to be careful and don't force things. First, we just remove this little ring that gets printed. This side thing, we'll take this off too. Now we're just going to try to get under there. Watch your fingers. This is sharp. You can actually cut yourself pretty well. So like, you try wiggling it back and forth a little bit. It's on there pretty good. So instead of forcing it, what we're going to do is we're going to preheat the bed. And then once it's heated up, we're going to try to take it off. All right, so let's preheat this bed. Once again, we go to prepare. We're going to go down to preheat PLA and let it just, the bed heat up for a little bit. And we'll be right back, all right? I'm not going to let it just hit 60. I'm going to let it hit 60. I'm going to wait like 10 minutes, and then we're going to attempt to take it off again with the bed a little heated, so hopefully it breaks the bond a little bit. We'll be right back. All right, so now it's been a little bit over 10 minutes now. The bed should be nice and warm. Hopefully we've got a little under here. We should be able to like get this off a little bit easier than without breaking it. I can already feel some of this stuff loosening up a little bit. Like I said, be careful of your hands. It's really difficult. Oop, breaking stuff. There we go. I broke a couple pieces off. Actually, all I broke off is a piece that just holds the cat's hand up. So that's actually not bad to take off. And the same thing with the front of this. That's why that stuff broke off so easily. So just a little force, I guess. Now I probably need to do a little better job of cleaning my my glass off next time to make sure that this comes off a little bit easier. But there we have our little kitty cat. Alright guys, without making this video too much longer, there you have it. The Ender 3 version 2 built all the steps, everything I did. If you guys saw something that I should do differently or set up differently, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. I'm new to this, so I'm learning, and as I learn, I'll let you guys learn. So a couple things I need to do is I need to learn how to detach a little bit better, maybe a better way of cleaning the glass and things like that. I'll figure that out. It'll be a good video for that too as well. Do keep an eye out for new videos as well, because I'll be doing mods, and I'll obviously be recording all my modifications to my my Ender, so that way you guys can see what they are and if they actually help and things like that. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, guys, please hit that like button and leave any comments if you have any questions. All right, I'll answer them. I'll do my best to answer them. If you'd like to see more content like this, then smash the subscribe button. You can also hit me up over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Maniocrity, where I stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evening starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'd be happy to answer any questions live on stream. Until next time, YouTube, take it easy.